Welcome back to another episode of Finding the Roots. This is part two of reading runes. In the first part, I discussed with you the general typical meanings of each of the runes. In this, I will tell you basically how I generally do rune readings. Uh, in the back of my Book of Shadows, I have three charts, each of which containing the three families of the runes. The first one being the Earth family, as seen here. The second containing the Warrior family, as seen here. The third containing the Spiritual or Heaven family, as seen here. And when someone asks for a reading, I don't do them online anymore, as I have said, but when I do read for people, I go over their problem in my mind and decide which one of the three families it correlates to the most. For example, my husband is having an affair, what do I do? To me, that is a mundane level issue, not on a spiritual sense, but it is a little more important than simple mundane things, so I would choose the Warrior family. And as I read, I'm just grabbing random runes. I would place them on each of the squares here, including the blank one in the center. And if any of the runes, for example, I wasn't planning on this to happen, but I don't know if you can see it very well. Can't because it slides. I'll lower the camera. Right here, this one was on the same rune space as it, so that would definitely draw a lot more attention out there. Or relating, as this one is close to that one, as this one is above that one, and just seeing how they kind of fit into each other, and how they relate in the ways of them being on the chart, because their meanings do land under what it is. For example, the square on the chart showing the rune of the harvest with this on top of it means something different than it would if it was the rune of transformations with the rune of transformations on top of it. So for example, isolation on the rune of the harvest definitely represents that when dealing with things that are coming to light and dealing with how things are unraveling and how the harvests of your life are being brought forward and the things that have gone on in the past are being brought to the present, it is an important time to stay alone with your thoughts rather than sharing them with other people, because there will be a lot of judgment from other people, and it's best if you just keep your past wrongs to yourself and help yourself move on from there rather than getting so many opinions from so many different people that you're left with a whole different situation. Whereas, let's say, isolation was on the rune of success, it would mean when you're having your successes, it's best to keep them about yourself and not share a lot of the success with other people. It's okay to share the benefits of the success with other people, for if you make money and you want to spend it on other people as a treat for a good friendship, then by all means go ahead. But don't go out and tell everyone how successful you're being because of it, because then there will be the greed from other people, and they'll start to go, oh, I wish I had their job, or oh, I wish I was like them, or why do they have to make so much money? And then their negative energy is out there against you, which can cause trouble. So one room could mean 25 different things depending on what space it landed on in what reading and what the circumstances were. So that is the main way that I read a reading. I basically learned by doing sample readings, by coming up with a situation on my own, or what the other thing I would do was I watch soap operas, and I would take a fictional storyline from the soap opera and pretend I was reading for that character, just so that it's an already preset situation going on, and I can see how accurate the runes are with a fictional character. Not the best way to practice, I would say, especially if you've been watching that soap opera for quite a while, then you know all the things that have happened, and it's just translating through. But it was good practice, I found, deciding, random storylines and seeing if that character came to me with a problem, how I would address it if they weren't a character. Um, but that's one way that I like to practice doing the runes, especially in this new kind of chart thing that I do because, if someone's saying they're having, um, let me think. See, that was an example of the warrior chart. If someone's having spiritual issues, blockages in their energy, that would be on the spiritual. If someone is just going for, will I get a new job? They already have a job, so it's not something that's a necessity, but they're wondering, will I get a new job? Then that could be a mundane issue. Um, but there are some where you kind of have to think for a second, like, which chart should I use for this? And sometimes it's just a snap decision. I'm going to use this one because I think that would be best. For example, family issues. I normally always use the Earth one because the Earth family is our mundane and physical family. Whereas when it's more challenging issues like divorces, sicknesses, and things like that, I would use a more challenging thing. But there was one not too long ago that I had where I couldn't decide between warrior and spiritual. When they said, "Can you just give me a general reading on my life?" And I thought, the spiritual aspect of your life, physical aspect, challenging questions, concerns, and they're like, "Oh, anything." So I did end up going with the spiritual aspect of it because I decided that it might open more doors for them if they know what's going on a spiritual level, so they could incorporate the spiritual level to a mundane level. So that is the way that I read the runes. Those charts I painted myself, so you really can't find them anywhere. I saw them on a YouTube video of someone rune reading made out of counter cross stitching. And I tried doing that actually because I really liked the cloth counter cross stitching idea, but how far did I get? I I did the what I wanted them to be, and then I got bumped the table. That wasn't the one. There. This is as far as I got, and I still kind of have a needle attached to it. Was I got that far, and then I decided, no, not getting very far, and maybe someday I'll get back to it. Uh, but I'm not the best when it comes to stitching and handiwork of that form, but that's as far as I got. Maybe someday it'll come back to me and decide that it needs to be done, but until then, I find the ones that I painted are just as well. I painted them on, I drew them with permanent marker on graph paper, like, you know, pretty sure you know what grafting paper is, the line paper, and I did them like that. I believe it was 30 by 30, or no, it was 30 by 30, because in each grid square there were 27 by 27, and then the 1, 2, 3 made it up to 30 to break it down. And, or was it 31? I don't remember. But I could figure it out if someone really, really wants to know. And then I traced it with permanent marker, did the symbols in permanent marker, using this as my grid for it. And then I painted over it with the color that I wanted the full thing to be, and the permanent marker still shone through a little, which I was happy about, so then I just painted it black. So that's how I did that. If anyone's interested in the exact things of how that's done, I suppose I could scan these on the computer and place the images, but only if people really want to see them. I could put them in the description bar, the links to those images, but it's not something I plan on doing unless people really want those mats on how to do those. Otherwise, just craft them yourself out of cloth. You could do them out of felt. That's something I thought about doing for a brief second, and then I realized, painting's easier. You could do the color and felt, and then cut out felt, like shapes of the rooms, and paste them on there. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and blessed be.